standard action report or review, however you want to see it, whatever terminology you use, for the NCTOA course that I took this past about 2 weeks ago. Hold on. Fucking, give me a second. Hey, what's going on? Hey, let me call you back. I'm shooting a daggone YouTube video. 10-4, bro. Oh, another YouTuber just called me. But after I can report on the NCTOA training course that I took like 2 weeks ago or whatever. Basically, pretty much what it is an 8-hour course brought on from the North Carolina Technical Officers Association. Which, if you're not a part of it and you are military or law enforcement or retired law enforcement or anything else like that, tactical EMS or something like that, there's some more stipulations like that that some guys that are non-sworn can still come to training, then you're wrong. You're wrong if you like the training anyways. But the way this course was set up, this one was regional training block with them. And the way it was pretty much set up was a round robin fashion. It had 4 stations. The first one was medical. So for an 8-hour day, you're talking pretty much 2 hours per block, right? So yeah, basically they broke it down to about an hour and a half. It didn't really work out to be 2 hours per block. Some stations, some groups got to be there longer than others. And that's just the way it was. The first station was the medical block. That was probably about an hour and a half, give or take, somewhere in there. And then the first station that I went to, or the other stations that they had the force on force in the shoot house. They had a carbine and then they had a vehicle. Carbine went all the way back to 100 yards on that range. The vehicle was about to 80 yards. So that's pretty much how it was set up. And the shoot house was a simunition shoot house for force on force. And pretty much, obviously, everybody's shooting full kit. You guys have seen the video I've got there, what to bring to a course, what I brought to this course, and what I bring to all courses, depending on the course and what they say you need for the class, obviously. But other than that, that's pretty much what I brought to the course, and that's pretty much how this specific course was set up. They had pretty much 4 stations, really only 3 stations, 4 if you want to include the medical block. But they did the medical block first, and then the 3 stations being the shoot house, force on force, the rifle course, and then the vehicle course. So for me, we started out at the force on force station. After we did the force on force station, we ended up rotating to a carbine class, or the carbine station. Then after we left the carbine station, we went to the vehicle station. Starting out with force on force, as always, the NCTOA is, it's really top notch. Swapped out, some guys had Sims gear. I don't have any Sims gear whatsoever, so I just borrowed everything from the NCTOA. So used a simunitions bolt, didn't have a simunitions handgun, did everything with the rifle for simunitions, for force on force use. So slipped in a bolt, put on all the protective equipment, and we go start doing runs through the house. 2 different scenarios. We were running as a team of 5, and we pretty much just do runs through the house, force on force. And you guys know what that looks like. It was the first time that I had learned. I've been training on, I've seen some videos and stuff, talked to some guys, but I've not actually been trained on limited penetration tactics, or whatever you want to call it, limited penetration. Some guys call it threshold evaluation. There's a bunch of different names for it, but what seems to be the most popular term is limited penetration. Pretty much what it is pretty much fighting from the door, fighting from real estate you own. And I've practiced on it, but I hadn't been professionally trained on it until this course. So it really reinforced what I was practicing. I was practicing pretty much pretty well. But one instance of it, we're supposed to be using, the scenario given was we were doing a warrant service. And it wasn't any kind of, not like a hostage situation or anything like that where time is really of the essence. You could pretty much do a deliberate clear of the residence. What we ended up doing on the first run was we had a team leader, which was not me. I think I ended up being the 2nd man in the stack. Wasn't the point man, or I was the 3rd man in the stack. Excuse me. But as we went flowing through rooms to rooms, ended up being point man at one point in time. So get to one position. I'm on one side of the door. Got the guys stacked up on the other side of the door. Instead of doing what we were trained to do, which was the threshold evaluation, I opened the door for my position. The door opens out, so it's a outward facing door. I open the door, the guys run in pretty much like you would in a dynamic entry. Everybody does their job right, but take shots as soon as first guy comes to the door, he gets shot. Second guy, he gets shot, but he ends up shooting the bad guy. And the way that they had this specific scenario set up was if we had used limited penetration, and when the door come open all the way, which would have been my position, I'd have had time to step back and use my actual threshold evaluation or limited penetration tactics, pretty much holding on the wall, and I would have seen the guy that eventually shot two guys and was eventually killed by one of the guys that shot. Right. Took both rounds. Both rounds were taken to the armor, so they'd probably been all right in the real world. But it would have all been avoided if we if we let the door come open all the way, and I'd been able to sit up on the wall, as opposed to when as soon as we open the door, everybody just hops in the room, and I'm standing outside. I would have been the third man in the room in this specific scenario. So the first guy, when he started taking fire, he kept moving. He was already hit. The second guy, when he started taking fire from the guy that was in the corner, he pretty much stops. So I can't get in the room at all. So he stops, takes care of that threat. Both their rounds would have been in the armor. Shot the guy in the face. I mean, good shooting. But again, it would have all been avoided if we'd opened the door and I'd have used threshold evaluation or limited penetration, and I would have been able to see that guy and give him commands. Then if he wanted to fight it out from there, then he'd have had to fight it out with me through the threshold, right? So that's some stuff that was picked up from the course for that specific block. There's other stuff that was picked up from that specific block, but that's pretty much the biggest lesson that I picked up. Obviously, we're working with guys from different agencies, so guys that have different TTPs and stuff like that, how they handle situations like that. So that's kind of one of the things. But again, if we use the limited penetration, I'd have been able to pick that guy up, no problem, because I would have been there. But we didn't. Guys hopped in the room, guys got shot up, guys get wasted. So that's pretty much what it is and what happened. Guy had a handgun. If he had a rifle, maybe it'd been different. But everybody was wearing hard armor anyway, so in a real world situation, I mean, you never know, whose time it is to go and whose time it isn't. But it is what it is. Switched over to the rifle range. We did the rifle range next, the rifle portion. Great course, good courses of fire. Some stuff that I picked up, shooting on the move block was phenomenal. We did a lot of like wounded officer stuff, so shooting your rifle with one hand and transferring from targets to targets. This BCM grip that I've got up here, it's a good grip. I mean, it works great. But when it comes to shooting one-handed, for me, I got a lot of oversway. And for something like the Magpul Myad, with a little bit different angle, I could hold up on target and transition from target to target for a lot longer time. So imagine doing a 2-2-4-2-2 drill one-handed, right? I mean, it's hard, but I mean, if you have to fight that fight one day, I mean, it is what it is. But I picked up a ton on the rifle course. Didn't have any issues gear-wise. One guy had an EOTech fall off, which is kind of indicative of EOTech. But their whole team's probably going to end up buying aim points. They're kind of in the I don't say beginning stages, but they're getting a lot of gear squared away and stuff like that as far as getting stuff in. So they'll probably end up with aim point sights, hopefully. I'll push them toward the pro because it's a pretty economic sight for what it is. But that's neither here nor there. Went over to the vehicle portion. First part of the vehicle, we're shooting inside the vehicle with the handgun, and then we did the same thing with the rifle. Some guys, for whatever reason, were intimidated to shoot at the head. I think I was the only one that was, at least in my group, that was shooting at the head. I don't know if any shot at the head after me, but I had already made up my mind that I was going to shoot the head because the charges were shot up from different groups being around different spots, that I was going to shoot the head and just freaking try to blaze through it and not hopefully get my hits, but blaze through it as good as I can and be able to do it with a recent amount of speed. So ran through it, shot everybody in the head, then went through, shot everybody in the body. My body shots were a lot faster, but knowing that I could shoot guys in the head at, traffic stop distances, whatever that means to you, is not really eye-opening, but just a good reinforcement, I should say. So that's always good, obviously positive to do stuff like that in training. Same thing with the rifle. It's easier with the rifle because obviously you're using a rifle inside of a car first of all. But the distance we were shooting were good distances for good shots on handgun. So you can imagine how much better you could do with a rifle at the same distance. So that pretty much showed for everybody. Ended up going back to shooting some different positions around the car. Shooting the target is about 80 yards. It's like a half B-side silhouette, vital zone silhouette on the standard IPSC target, like 80 yards. They had two set up. They had one was like the reduced size, and they had one was like just the A zone. So pretty much everybody was shooting at the reduced side. The reduced size, they were shooting at the A zone because some of the positions were kind of unfamiliar. First off, I start out shooting, which I've got some video of it whenever I shoot. I started out shooting in the, well, pretty much how it works, you run the shooting on a truck. Started out shooting at the beginning of the truck. Pretty much everything's kind of Viking Tactics oriented as far as needs and stuff like that. For you guys that are familiar with how Viking Tactics teaches the vehicle stuff, that's pretty much kind of the same methodologies that we're being taught at this course as far as shooting over the hood and stuff like that. So me, I don't do a lot of strong side. So whenever I do kneeling, I just get in that position as quick as possible. I don't ever have my, I guess my dominant knee up, unless I just happen to be on that side of the barricade, depending on what side. This time we're shooting supported. Usually I shoot unsupported. Shooting supported, kind of wonky position. My muzzle's kind of thrown around in there. Threw I think 2 or 3 targets on the first time we're shooting at the front left of the vehicle. Got to shooting over the hood, smoked it over the hood. Got to doing broke back mountain prone, trying to shoot underneath the truck. And at 70 yards, 80 yards, whatever it was, I was shooting starting off, I was shooting pretty much offhand. So, not really offhand, but shooting non-support side, or shooting support side, excuse me. And I was, instead of trying to use my actual vertical grip, I was more or less trying to muscle the gun to get sight picture, but it was just too low. I think I ended up shooting one shot, looking at the video. I think I shot one shot from that position. And I only shot that one shot because I thought that might have been the target, but it wasn't because I didn't hit it. So I said I ain't gonna waste no more rounds in that position. What I probably should have tried to do is, instead of shooting it how I'd seen guys shoot it before me, those guys being right-handed, I being left-handed, I should have shot it from a left-handed point of view. So I should have shot it strong side for me and seen how that would work to get my elevation. Because there were guys that were shooting before me and they were using, like, you know, a UMP 40 for example, and he's hitting it every time. And there's guys out there shooting iron sights and they're hitting it every time. So I don't know if it was one of those positions where it's like, you know, based on my body mechanics, how low I am to the ground versus how low somebody else is to the ground, if that played a role or whatever. Which I'm sure maybe it did because I couldn't see anything. But I was shooting from what would be support side. If I had been shooting what would be strong side and hooked my vertical grip underneath my arm a little bit higher to get that added elevation when shooting Brokeback Mountain, I probably would have been able to see it. What I ended up doing is shooting it from a version of rollover prone, in which I could see it then. I could see it then because I had a little bit more elevation. But I rushed my shots, so I still missed them. So pretty much underneath the vehicle, I didn't shoot and hit any of the. I think I ended up shooting 4 shots. I think I missed all 4 shots. I think 1 from Brokeback Mountain prone. I think 2 or 3, maybe even 4 from rollover prone. And again, rushed my shots on it, even though I could see it and missed it. After that, go to the back of the vehicle, shoot support side, supported, missed. I think I missed the first one, ended up shooting the second 2 times. After that, I was still kind of thinking about how I had just threw all those shots underneath the vehicle, but in any case, got it together and ended up hitting it. Worked on those positions after that course, done a little bit of vehicle stuff last week and the week immediately following that, and I could see, like from Brokeback Mountain prone and some of those other positions, I could see the target up close. If it's like, you know, 25, 30, 40 yards, I could see it from that position. So if I can see it, I'm sure I can hit it, and I did. But from 80 yards, I couldn't even see it, and I obviously threw it. Luckily, I've got a range where I can shoot at distance underneath the vehicle. I haven't done it yet, that out to 100 yards. but I'm gonna end up trying that whenever I can get out there. But that's pretty much the after action review. As usual, it's a stellar course. NCTOA offers some grade A training. It's pretty much top of the line for what it is. You can't really beat it as far as price or anything else. So, and guys, like I said, if you're law enforcement or military, you need to join the NCTOA. If you're a tactical paramedic or something like that, you need to join the NCTOA because you can be training and be saving yourself a lot of money. Get a lot of high value training for not spending a whole lot of money. But again, force on force, learned a lot there. Limited penetration is really the heat, which it's kind of awkward because I'll use limited penetration whenever I'm working, but I had never really been trained on it. But it's just a smarter way to do versus the traditional room clearing, whatever you want to call it. If you guys are unfamiliar with limited penetration, just Google limited penetration or YouTube limited penetration, and it kind of gives you an idea of some of the getting away from some of the dogma that's out there as far as close quarters combat is concerned. So you guys feel free to rate, subscribe, comment, let me know what you guys think. Other than that, shoot safe and get out and shoot. Or get out and train.
If anything, we'll just replace the barrel and keep going.
Jamming up on
Like we was that day when we keep
bring it right back.
Yeah, we would take a beat it with a hammer.
75 yards.
Well, 40 yards up the end.
All to the other side. Other side. Other side.
That mag got up and chunky.
The guy would come outside.
Oh, whenever I shot was shooting left, I put my right up here over the port. Get it in there. Self-correcting problem. There's no problem shooting it. It's just
Anything other
I had my hand up.
That's why I can't buy it.
I know. It sounds good. It sounds good, but it doesn't sell it.